Do you have too many NPCs? Hard to keep track of them all? I don't really believe you can have too many NPCs. The sheer number of them can get out of hand sometimes, making a recall at the table difficult. Hi, welcome to Tabletop Tip of the Day. My name is Storm. The way I keep all those names and characters straight is with a relationship board, a chart of NPCs and PCs and how they relate to each other, especially in a game of politics and intrigue where the relationships are extremely important. This tip isn't as useful for a game where PCs are traveling far and wide and rarely return back to a location. But for those games where reoccurring NPCs happen frequently, relationship maps can be a real help. So, to demonstrate the power of a relationship board, I have my actual relationship map up from my Stonetop game, which was a game of a village of 300 people where the player characters, several of the player characters actually grew up in. And a way to emulate that familiarity was to create this relationship map. And this happened over time. This was not something that I put together, session two. This was something that I started around session two, and we kept adding to it. And the players have access to the board as well. So sometimes even in play, we'd make up an NPC, and I would turn to that player, like Eric. Hey man, this guy's a big part of your life. Why don't you grab a picture and slap it in there and name them, and then later on, in between sessions we can tighten it up. So I use Miro. There are a lot of different apps out there that have whiteboards. Miro gives you 2 free boards that you can play with, and that just happens to be the one that I use. So let's dive in here a little bit. So like here's the council. The council, anybody with a yellow dot is a member of the council, and that's sort of the ruling governing body of Stonetop. I can get in here deeper. So Marn here is a player character. He happens to be on the council, and it's loading up for some reason. I apologize about that. He's got little red diamonds on these characters, and these are his band of militia that he's put together during play. And actually, his character has acquired that as a an attribute on his character sheet in Stonetop. So you'll see that there's some lines between these characters. So here was an NPC that was from another town who was a merchant, and they negotiated a deal. There's someone building an oven for an inn. This happens to be his mother. This happens to be a longtime family contact who helps run the family business. He was from a southern city that has caravans. These two characters, the red line indicates that they have some kind of conflict between them. There's some drama, and they're sort of the Hatfield and McCoys of the Stonefield. Their families are constantly warring. Although there was a wedding between 2 of them recently, but that sort of held the peace for a little bit, and then it sort of boiled over again. And they're a constant thorn in the side of the player characters. This is Yorith. She is they actually they're non-binary. They give up their sex in order to become a judge, and they are a judge. I drew hers. I mean, she started as a woman, so I keep stumbling over that. So one of the things I wanted to show you is that I have all these pictures over here, and these are pictures that we haven't used yet. And because my players have access to the board, we can grab any of these pictures at any time and move them over and create, integrate them into the ongoing intrigues of Stonetop. I get a lot of these pictures off of Pinterest. Sometimes I'll say like, I needed a lot of pictures of sort of the Hill Clan tribes, which are based loosely on the Mongols. So I needed, horses and sort of Mongol attire and that kind of Asian motif of the Mongol Empire. So I typed that into Pinterest and away I went. But I will also find things online, when I'm looking at other artists or something like that, or sometimes I draw my own. One of the things that I find very difficult for Stonetop was finding sort of normal people, non-adventuring types in a fantasy setting. So when I found those, I snagged them and put them up right away. So that's just something you can do. Artists would call this a morgue. From when they used to keep photographs and stuff like that in a file cabinet for reference for their own artwork. So yeah, this is our relationship map, and just it's big and mighty. I wish it was a little more compact. Neil at one point was really worried we were running out of room, so he spread everything out so we could jam more characters around every major character. I had it tighter, and it would have been better for demonstration purposes. But there you have it. I also wanted to show you really quickly that just bear with me while this loads up. Is oops, yeah, like I use Miro for. I have a sort of a game master's board, and I'm sorry it's taking a while, so I'll just talk. One of the things you have to make sure you do is that if the arrow is selected, it will select an item, and it's a little bit annoying, but here is when you get the hand, you can kind of move around. So this is my GM board. This is where I hold images for an upcoming session, and I leave them up in case we ever need to refer to them. Often I have my relationship board open or this board or both when I'm actually doing prep. So I can refer back to it and go, oh, that NPC is, such and such. Because I forget. I'm getting to that point where I'm pretty old, so I'm starting to forget stuff. So one of the things I do is because my players have access to this board, I just hide, you know, the honor system. They won't look under the white box. I just put a white box over there just to keep it going. We had a battle where the Crinwin, which are sort of goblin-like creatures, attacked Stone Top in waves. So I made up little counters so the fight could be easily understood by everybody online. By the way, I do use these boards in face-to-face games. I did for Swords of the Serpentine. We had a television that was right next to where the GM sat. Well, that was me at the time, and so I could just hook up my laptop, and all the players could see all the people and places of Eversync, which is the Swords of the Serpentine setting. Here's I have my map of the general map of Stone Top continent. Here's where Stone Top itself is. I just scanned it in, made it super small, and slapped it on the map. So these maps, using these visuals and keeping them somewhat organized, is really helpful, especially when you're dealing with so many NPCs, and I think even places. So yeah, that's my relationship map. So relationship maps, have you used them? Do you have any questions about utilizing them? Let's hear your thoughts and post them in the comments. Remember, subscribing to my channel, liking my videos helps tremendously and encourages me to keep on keeping on. Especially with these tabletop tips. So until next time, you keep on keeping on.